Welcome to the analysis of the 2014 Miller-Heiman Sales Best Practice Study. Our study this year is entitled The Pursuit of World-Class Performance. In 2013, we identified the growing gap between good and great organizations, and we found the performance gap between world-class and all to be 25%. But more importantly, what we were able to identify were the three attributes of world-class sales organizations. Those three attributes are: one, they have a customer core, meaning they're focused on the customer. Two, they have a collaborative culture, meaning they have this conscious structure about how they work together. And three, they're calibrated for success, meaning world-class organizations understand how they measure success. In 2014, our study now focuses on the behaviors. What are the behaviors that drive world-class performance, and how we connect them to our world-class organizational attributes? What we find is that when we talk about customer core, the individual behavior that differentiates and segments world-class from all is their ability to provide perspective. Next, when we think about our collaborative culture, it's this individual behavior of conscious collaboration, meaning how do we really work together? And third, connecting calibrated success, we now focus on performance accountability. My name's Joe Galvin, and it's a pleasure to share with you the headlines from the 2014 study. I'd like to spend just a few minutes with you to go deeper onto our sales system, and then focus on these three behaviors and give you a little insight from that, as well as a preview to what lies ahead when we look at the 12 behaviors that impact performance. We use the sales system as our lens to look at, evaluate, and measure world-class sales organizations and the differences between the all category. It begins with the customer at the core of everything that we do and the focus for how we interact and connect with customers. Our first layer out is the customer management strategies of how we manage relationships, create opportunities, and manage opportunities. The outer layer of business management looks at the people and organization, operations and enablement support, and management execution and leadership. The outer ring of strategic analysis and decision-making is what the sales leaders face every day. The Miller-Heiman Sales Best Practice Study uses the sales system as our lens to do our analysis of what distinguishes world-class from all. This is our 11th year, and what's powerful about this is less than 30% of the respondents are actually Miller-Heiman clients, meaning we've got a very broad and diverse base of responses I'll share with you in a minute. We also only look at those respondents with 3 or more decision makers. Our focus is on the complex B2B sale. That's what we really want to understand. And then we look at it across 3 aspects: the demographics, the behaviors, and the metrics that go with this designation of world class. And really, what does that mean when we talk about comparing world class to all, and how that helps us make better decisions? As I mentioned, our study demographics span all the representative verticals of complex B2B sales. We have geographic representation from around the planet and a cross-section of roles, giving us a true perspective on the world of complex B2B sales. Key to our study is the definition of what defines world-class. Through a careful analysis of critical sales activities, validated with the right sales metrics that connect to sales performance, we're able to define a small subsegment as world-class. 8.5% of respondents in 2014 met that criteria, and their performance outperformed the all against the critical metrics, approximately 22%. To our return to our story, let's pick up an understanding of what defines a world-class performance-driven culture. We're able to identify before the customer core, collaborative culture, and calibrated success attributes of the organization, and connect those to the individual behavior of the ability to provide perspective, the ability to consciously collaborate, and this concept of performance accountability. What we're looking for are the cultural components that connect these together. When we talk about a performance-driven sales culture, it begins with how do we connect and engage with our customers. We then move to this concept of how do we work together, meaning do we collaborate because there's a poster on the wall, or do we collaborate because we've got a structure behind it? And finally, what do we as a culture, what do we measure, recognize, and reward? Let's begin by this cultural component of how do we connect and engage with our customers. It's this layer of the sales system where how our salespeople choose to connect, how they manage relationships, how they create opportunities, how they manage opportunities. This notion of how we connect to customers is the first element that we see when we talk about individual behavior. The key question we explore in detail in the study is, we clearly understand our customers' issues before we propose a solution. Our next behavior is conscious collaboration, meaning how do we work together? And this is really a telling element of the performance culture, is how do we now connect to our customer management strategies, how we connect to customers? How do our people and organization, operations, enablement, management, execution, and leadership, how does that all connect now to the sales resource? How do we work together as a team? And the key question we explore in the study, our organization collaborates across all departments to pursue large deals. How well does your organization collaborate? And our last element, the cultural component, is what do we measure, recognize, and reward? This now moves to the outer layer, the connection of the constant strategic analysis and decision-making that we make as sales leaders, as managers, as salespeople, how that connects to our business management strategies, our customer management strategies, and it all begins with the customer. The key question that we focus on here is, our sales performance metrics are aligned with our business objectives. We find performance accountability, this notion of accountability, is really what distinguishes a sales rep, a rep who gives a pitch, who shows up and tells people what they know, versus a sales professional. It's really that performance accountability that makes a difference, the concept of accountability that separates the sales professional and world-class performance from all others. And we explore that in greater detail inside the study. We'll explore each of the behaviors in greater detail in the complete report. We'll also go on and look at now, against the 6 elements of the sales system, what are the 12 key activities that actually are linked and connected to those behaviors that drive the metrics that lead to improved performance. I'd like you to think about your sales system now in terms of your customer management capabilities, which is how do you connect to customers? And how do you think your customer management capabilities might compare with world-class or your vertical? And then we'll look at the business management capabilities. We'll look deeper at the strategic focus that resides inside each of the 6 elements. We'll see how social selling, creating a knowledge advantage, and developing and managing a customer community are all areas of focus when we talk about customer management. On the business management side, it's the impact of multiple customer models. How do you enable customer context and this all-important forecast accuracy and funnel confidence? We'll explore each one of these areas and each one of the key activities that drive them, all in terms of our goal, in terms of getting to sales performance. We'll further identify the top 12 initiative summary that are connected to each one of the elements in the sales system and share with you those data in comparison. We work closely with our clients to understand where your team is and what your response might be, to understand those comparatives between where your organization might be, where world-class is, and how you compare against the all category. And finally, we'll summarize those behaviors in terms of how it connects to creating opportunities, managing opportunities, and manage relationships. Further, within people and organization, operations and enablement, and management execution. We'll explore each one of these data points, its impact to world-class, and what we think the key drivers are that make that data point important, relevant, and meaningful. I hope you'll join us and participate in our community. We'll be sharing an on-demand webinar of these findings shortly, where we'll go into greater detail in each of the points and topics we highlighted today. Our executive summary is a more comprehensive view, including the data and more insights. I'd ask you to join and participate in our Sales Performance Spotlight, where each month we will be sharing one of these data points with some insight behind it. You can find all this at millerheiman.com/subscribe. We hope you'll join us, become part of our community, and look forward to sharing with you greater detail and greater depth on each of the points we made today.